Okay, awesome, perfect. So avoid legal snacks by telling people you're being recorded, guys. Don't sue me, okay? The Skype just told me make sure you tell people you record them. Okay, so so today we're going to talk about rights and responsibilities in Romania, and then also we have a class on education in Romania, number 7. The number 7 class will be like 10 minutes because we'll go very, very fast on it. You guys don't have kids yet, so you will not put them to school, and then you being all students, then you already know how the system works. So we'll not go into detail so much about the kids school and getting kids registered and things like this. All right.
Okay.
So the first lesson that we're going to talk is about rights and responsibilities. um, and the whole discussion about your rights, what are your rights here in Romania, it's just based technically on human rights first, and then there are several rights that you have. And then if you see the screen now, we have like five types of rights. We have fundamental liberties such as freedom of speech, of movement, thinking, religious beliefs. So this means you guys as migrants and refugees here, you have freedom of speech. You can share your opinion. You have freedom of religious to practice a religion or not practice. You have also legal rights like rights to life and physical integrity, private life, general protection of persons and property, defense. So if you call the police, for example, someone threatens you or someone wants to break in your house and you call the police, then the police, of course, will come and protect you and your property. So you have this right. You also have the right to be treated equal in terms of everyone. It's the same in front of the law. So you should not be treated less or treated different or better than other persons. You have the right to access justice. You can sue people. You can go to court. You can make complaints about stuff. You have the right to get information, to access culture, employment, social protection, and healthcare. You have the right not to be discriminated based on your race, gender, sexual orientation, religious beliefs, ethnicity, age, and physical or mental disabilities. So, in one sentence, all these rights are human rights, right? It's things that humans should have. Of course, not all over the world people have this.
Agree on, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. So let's watch a very, very small movie. It's about where is it? It's about human rights. It's a very good.
Introduction.
Yeah, talking point or preparing point of this lesson. Maybe some of you've seen it. So I make it very big. You are not seen in my recording now. So we're just gonna watch this movie. Just let me know if you hear the sound. 1 second. Okay, go, go, go.
Yes,
Okay.
we hear
Okay,
you.
awesome. So let's watch this.
Human rights
It's
in
like 9 minutes. Let's just watch it and then we continue with our discussions. All right?
Jesus. Human rights. Well, that's tough.
Wow.
I don't even know how to give that definition.
I would probably have to do a little bit of homework or something. I think any, just a normal, human, any.
The rights that humans have.
Oh, that's a very large debate.
Me es que son mange ting.
Tú le puedes preguntar a 20 personas y te van a dar 20 diferentes opiniones.
Non saprei, è una domanda complicatissima.
Obviously. Because we just take them for granted that they're there, but we don't even consider what they are.
Human rights are the rights you have simply because you're human. It's how you instinctively expect and deserve to be treated as a person, like the right to live freely, to speak your mind, and to be treated as an equal. There are many kinds of rights. Most apply to a certain group. But human rights are the only ones that apply to absolutely everyone, everywhere. That means kids, old people, poor people, basketball players, garbage men, rappers, teachers, Africans, Indians, Albanians, Christians, Muslims, Kabbalists, atheists, your mom, your dad, your next door neighbor, and you all have the exact same human rights. In other words, they're universal. But the question remains, what are they?
Name the human rights?
What the human rights are?
The right to live.
Equality between all peoples.
Right to religion, the right to...
Is there supposed to be a list somewhere you should be aware of?
According to the United Nations, there are a total of 30 human rights, which are usually lumped together and called simply human rights. They're all listed out in a Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is the world's most widely accepted document on the subject. But it was a long time in coming. At first, there were no human rights. If you were in with the right crowd, you were safe. If you weren't, well, you weren't. But then a guy named Cyrus the Great decided to change all that. After conquering Babylon, he did something completely revolutionary. He announced that all slaves were free to go. He also said people had the freedom to choose their religion, no matter what crowd they were a part of. They documented his words on a clay tablet known as the Cyrus Cylinder. And just human rights were born. The idea spread quickly to Greece, to India, and eventually to Rome. They noticed that people naturally followed certain laws, even if they weren't told to. They called this natural law, but it kept getting trampled on by those in power. Not until 1,000 years later in England did they finally get a king to agree that no one can overrule the rights of the people, not even a king. People's rights were finally recognized, and they were now safe from those in power. Kind of. It still took a bunch of British rebels declaring their independence before the king got the point that all men are created equal. Which isn't that he liked the idea, but he couldn't stop them, and America was born. The French immediately followed with their own revolution for their own rights. Their list was even longer, and they insisted that these rights weren't just made up. They were natural. The Roman concept of natural law had become natural rights. Unfortunately, not everyone was so thrilled. In France, a general named Napoleon decided to overthrow the new French democracy and crown himself emperor of the world. He almost succeeded, but the countries of Europe joined forces and defeated him. Human rights was again a hot topic. They drew up international agreements, broadly granting many rights across Europe. But only across Europe. The rest of the world somehow still didn't qualify. Instead, they got invaded, conquered, and consumed by Europe's massive empires. But then a young lawyer from India decided enough was enough. His name was Mahatma Gandhi. Face of violence, he insisted that all people of Earth had rights, just in Europe. Eventually, even Europeans started to agree. But it wasn't going to be that easy. 2 world wars erupted. Hitler exterminated half the Jewish population of Earth in horrifying death camps. And all told, 90 million people died. Never had human rights been so terrifyingly close to extinction. And never had the world been more desperate for change. So the countries of Earth banded together and formed the United Nations. Their basic purpose was to reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of the human person. But what were human rights? Were they the proclamations of Cyrus, the natural laws of Rome, the declarations of France? Everyone seemed to have a slightly different idea of what human rights should be. But under the supervision of Eleanor Roosevelt, they finally agreed on a set of rights that applied to absolutely everyone. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The French concept of natural rights had finally become human rights. So, in summary, at first, only a few lucky people had any rights, until one of those guys decided, hey, other people should have some rights too, which was great, except not everyone agreed. And it only took a few thousand years of fighting and declarations and more fighting until everyone finally agreed that human rights should apply to everyone. and they all lived happily ever after. Except for one little problem. If people have the right to food and shelter, why are 16,000 children dying of starvation every day? 1 every 5 seconds. If people have freedom of speech, why are thousands in prison for speaking their minds? If people have the right to education, why are over 1 billion adults unable to read? If slavery has truly been abolished, why are 27 million people still enslaved today? More than twice as many as in 1800. The fact is, when it was signed, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights did not have the force of law. It was optional. And despite many more documents, conventions, treaties, and laws, it's still little more than words on a page. So the question is, who will make those words a reality?
I have a dream today.
When Dr. King marched for racial equality, he was marching for rights that had been guaranteed by the United Nations for almost 2 decades. But still, he marched. When Nelson Mandela stood up for social justice in the 1990s, his country had already agreed to abolish such discrimination for almost 40 years. But still, he fought. Those who fight today against torture, poverty, and discrimination are not giants or superheroes. They're people. Kids, mothers, fathers, teachers. Free-thinking individuals who refuse to be silent. Who realize that human rights are not a history lesson. They're not words on a page. They're not speeches or commercials or PR campaigns. They are the choices we make every day as human beings. They are the responsibility we all share. Respect each other, to help each other, and to protect those in need. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places close to home. So close and so small that they cannot be seen on any maps of the world. Yet they are the world of the individual person, the neighborhood he lives in, the school or college he attends, the factory, farm, or office where he works. Such are the places where every man, woman, and child seeks equal justice, equal opportunity, equal dignity without discrimination. Unless these rights have meaning there, they have little meaning anywhere.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. I think it was quite interesting. So that's how the human rights were born. It's a very interesting approach to see the history and how there were different laws and how we came to, to have this declaration of human rights, which still in some part of the world are not taken in consideration. Okay. Regarding, I just wanted to ask you very, very quickly. It's a good conversation about what freedom of speech means. Would anyone like just to say what they understand by freedom of speech? What is freedom of speech?
Like you say whatever you want, no one judge you about it.
Mm-hmm. But can you say everything you want?
Yeah.
No, you have to take things into consideration. You can't offend people or attack or do a hate speech. You're free to express, but not to attack, which is a very thin line. It's hard to measure exactly where do freedom of speech starts and when do you start making hate speeches or offend people. It's a complicated matter.
Yeah, it's true. So it's a big debate where the freedom of speech stops and where it becomes hate speech, because hate speech it's against the law. So just a short example: if I say I don't like Syrian students because I don't know, I don't like them, whatever.
Seriously?
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
So if I say I don't like Syrian students, that's fine. So that's my right to say that. Yeah. So I can say I don't like Syrian students.
Your opinion.
But yeah, but if I say I don't like Syrian students, let's kill them, or let's throw them from the country, or let's not give them food or something, then that's hate speech. And for that, I can go to jail. So there is like you said, Hali, there is a thin line between,
expression
freedom of speech
and attack.
Yeah. I think you are aware of, in Netherlands, in Holland, I think, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something like that, some magazine, they did this very offensive painting, pictures of Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah, it went all over the Arabian world. Everybody knows about it.
So then again, it was a big debate on, freedom of speech. Is it okay if we make fun of the Pope, of the Jesus, about Prophet Muhammad? Is that freedom of speech, or is it hate speech? So that's still a big debate. But always take in consideration that hate speech is illegal. So any kind of attack, verbal attack, or call for hate action, it's against the law. So that's not freedom of speech. So we can say what we think as long as that is not hurtful toward others. So, for example, we can say, I don't agree with gay marriages. It's my choice. I'm conservative or whatever, but let's kill the gays, or something like that. So I can say, that's also a big debate on how you can, you can still express if you have like religious beliefs or, that can be offending for someone, but then freedom of speech should be that. So I can say, I don't believe in God, right? It's my choice. It's fine. I don't believe in God, but I should never say like, let's kill the Christians, or Christians are stupid, or Muslims, why they believe in God, there is no God. So you say what you think, but you do it in a positive way, and maybe getting a debate, but not getting people like getting angry. All right. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So the fundamental rights in Romania, they are based on the constitution. The actual constitution was written in 1990, just a little bit after the communist revolution, which was 30 years ago. And it has four main principles. They are coming from the Declaration of Human Rights. The idea of human dignity, so everybody should be treated with dignity, no matter of the sex, social status, refugee, Muslim, Romanian, Roma person, Gypsy, whatever. Everyone should be treated with the same dignity. Everyone is equal, so equality should be a principle for all the Romanian residents and citizens. And then also, the freedom of speech. So you have the right to express our beliefs, opinions on politics, religion, everything, but any verbal attacks on a person, a group of person, because of their gender, beliefs, race, disability, sexual orientation are forbidden. So we can keep it just as a debate and say what we're thinking, but we have to be very not asking people to be hated. Yeah. Okay, awesome. The idea of right to access justice, it's also a fundamental right. It's also for you as refugees here, so you can access the legal justice, but you can also be prosecuted. So if you don't obey the law in Romania, you might get prosecuted. If you get any kind of interaction with the justice system, you have the right to have interpreter if you don't speak Romanian, and also, of course, you have the right to have a fair trial. You have the right to move in Romania wherever you want. So if you want to move to Bucharest or wherever, to Iași, you can just move around. Keep in mind that every time you move, you have to change your ID.
Yeah.
So if you move to a different city, you need another contract and so on. So you do not ask for another refugee status, but you just renew your ID. You also have the right to leave temporary Romania and return, and I'm sure you guys know how that works. subsidiary protection, you should travel to Schengen area only with visas. And then if you have refugee status, you can travel without visas. But I'm sure you also know that if you go to France with subsidiary protection, they let you in and then you can move around. Everyone knows that, but officially you cannot go into the Schengen area unless you have a visa. But again, a lot of people are traveling to France, like I said. Okay, you have the right to access social integration program. This is the integration program from the immigration office, and I'm sure all of you already know so much about this famous integration program. This takes up to 1.5 years, 18 months, and you, after an evaluation, you set some steps to do, and then you get an evaluation in the middle after 6 months. And then at the end, if you did your steps, if you learned the Romanian language, you know, más o menos, or, you know, less or more, then you finish the integration program positively. And this gives you like a positive outcome. Yeah. Now, the thing is, for the people with refugee status, if they finish the integration program positively, they can ask for Romanian citizenship after 4 years instead of 5, as is normal. So that will be the main benefit of the integration program, that and also the financial assistance. But for people with subsidiary protection, they'll be clear in the beginning, and now it's interpreted as subsidiary protection. You can ask for citizenship after 8 years of staying in Romania. Nevertheless, there are still people who asked for long-term residence permit and then citizenship, even with subsidiary protection after 4 years. I'm not telling you that this will be possible for you. I'm just saying maybe, or we don't know how the law will look after at least 4 years. And then the second benefit, as I said, is this financial help, the 540 lei that you receive every month. Each one of you applied for that financial help. You guys you're receiving this?
Yes.
I did not.
I'm not receiving anything.
I didn't receive anything also.
But did you guys apply? You knew about this money?
Yeah, I know about it, but I have to talk with, I think, Evelina about it.
Okay, but do it. But please be advised that there is a limit date when you can apply for this money. So you cannot let 5 months to pass. So contact Evelina today, WhatsApp her, make an appointment, and ask what documents you need, because you know this money will be given into you, and it's your own right. I mean, it's not a lot. It's 540 lei. This is 130 euros per month, but it's some extra money. If you work, then this money will be stopped. But unless you're working, you know, it's your benefit, and also you get it from behind. So contact Evelina and ask about this money. But
So what do you mean by behind? Even the months where did not like apply?
Yes, but there is. I don't wanna give you false information, because I'm not sure if it's 2 or 3 months. You can only apply within 2 or 3 months for this help.
Okay.
So if you received protection 4 months ago and you didn't apply, then you lose it, which is a terrible thing. You were not. No, you guys been informed by the police officer when you signed the integration program about this? Did they told you about?
Yes, she told me about this, and I signed a paper with the request for the money.
Yes.
But I didn't receive it now anything.
It might. So there might be delays also with coronavirus. Get in touch with Evelina. Keep in mind there is only 2 more weeks of the project, and you should find a lot of information now. But of course, after our project is finished, you can still ask me stuff. I will be here. I'm not disappearing. And also the police, you can still ask the police, but it's better to ask us, because if you know how it works with the police. If I call and I ask, or I come with you, it's much easier, and I speak the language and I understand. So keep it in mind. Okay, guys. So please know that after 6 months you'll have an evaluation about your integration program, how it goes, and if it's if you didn't do all your parts, they can stop the integration program and they can stop the money, mostly the money. So if you're not getting the money already and you're not going to get it, then But it's good to do this integration program because, you know, they give you a certificate, a paper, and it's helpful, I don't know, in some future situation. All right. You have, as a refugee, probably you know this, you have the right to family reunification. And for you, I guess you are not married. I think all three of you are not married. But if you would have been married, you could have bring your wife here and your kids. But also Romania, it's an exception. They also accept parents. So if you guys have parents outside the country and they are like in a refugee situation, the Romania accepts you to bring your parents here. But
I have a question. So they also go through the exact steps I went through, or is it automatic since I asked for? Okay.
Yes. So they will not be. They will not be considered refugees. They will be family members. So they will not go through the asylum procedure. I know how this procedure works, but also if you have any questions about this, you should take it to Phoebe, to the legal advisor, because she knows all the law, how this works. It goes like 6 months. There is evaluation from the government. I think you also have to prove like you're financially stable, so you don't bring people and you cannot take care of them. So there is some steps. If you want to ask Phoebe in the next 2 weeks, our legal advisor, I can give you the phone number. If not, you can leave it for September, when hopefully this project starts again and everyone goes back to work. It might not be the case. We might not get the project. Some people might not work there anymore, but but keep it in mind, okay? Romanian citizenship, I already told you about that. You can apply for Romanian citizenship after 8 years, or in case you are a refugee status, you can apply after 4 years if you finish the integration program successfully. Okay, very quickly, some family laws. Again, these do not, because you guys are not married, or maybe you want to get married, but I will just go very quickly on them. So if you want to get married in Romania, you have to be over 18, or you can marry someone, like in your case, because you are all over 18, you can marry someone 16 years of age, presumably a girl, but it has to be with the parents' approval. So if you fall in love with a very young girl, make sure you get along with the parents if you want to get married. Yeah, if you want to get married and you want to know the papers, just ask us then. I will not tell you what the papers you need. Then if you get married but you don't like each other, you can also get a divorce. There are several types of divorce in Romania. There is agreement divorce, where you can mutual consent divorce, when you just, you go in front of a judge and you just say, we want to get a divorce, and then you settle everything. Then you can also ask a divorce, like I can go to the court and ask a divorce without my wife's approval. I don't know, I can say something like she cheated on me, or she left the house. So that can also be happen. So there is two types of divorce. If you have children, you have to register them. If you marry a Romanian girl and you have a child with a Romanian girl, your child, it's automatically Romanian, even if you don't have the citizenship. So any child from one Romanian parent becomes a Romanian citizen. And then if you have a child, the father or the mother can take 2 years of holiday parental care leave, where you can take care of the child. This is it's a very good social protection thing. You don't get this in a lot of European countries, like USA, for example. I think you can stay only 3 months, which is terrible. So in Romania, the parents, both mother or father, which one they want, they can stay for 2 years and take care of the child, which is a very good thing.
I didn't understand that quite.
So if you, let's say Khalid, you get a child. I mean, let's say you get married and you get a child. Then you can stay 2 years, and you've been working. You need to work 1 year before. You can stay 2 years at home, and the government will give you 85% of your salary to stay at home and take care of the child. So it's a social protection. It's a social benefit.
That's amazing.
It's very good. Like my wife stayed 2 years. And then you can stay, for example, if you stay only 1 year and a half and you go back earlier to work, then the government will give you some money, like some extra money, so you don't lose the money. So there are some social benefits with this. So it's good. And then also the father can stay. Usually the parent who makes less money stays at home. So if the father makes more money, he goes to work, because you only get 85% of your salary.
You want to lose the 85 from the less.
Exactly. So you choose the person in total to have the biggest budget in the house. Yeah. Okay. So you have to be advised of the Romanian laws. If you break the laws, you cannot say, sorry, I didn't know. That will not take the responsibility. So if you break any laws, of course, you will pay for that. So just very quickly, just few examples. For example, I'm sure you probably know that in Romania, any possession and use of drugs, you're getting to jail for that. So if you have like small, low risk drugs, you can get 2 to 7 years in prison. For example, even for marijuana. So if you have a lot of friends into this, be very careful not to get caught. Okay, and I said that on recording. No, don't use it. Just don't use it. Better advice. Yeah. Can we cut here? Better advice.
Cut the camera.
Yeah, don't use drugs. Also, high risk drugs like heroin. So usually the drugs that you inject, you get from 5 to 12 years. So even if police catches you with your own stuff, there is a limit in quantity. So if they catch you with a small quantity, which means it's for you, you still get to prison.
Self-use.
But then if you get with a high quantity, they can accuse you of selling it, and then you get higher punishment. So just stay away of that. Smoking, it's not allowed in enclosed public spaces. Public transportation, trains, trams, probably already know that. You get fines for smoking inside or in public places. Alcohol consumption, you cannot consume alcohol on public roads and parks. This is important to know. So if you guys drink beer or something, don't have like a party in a park with beer. You might get fees for that. You get like from 100 to 500 lei. And also, people under 18 cannot buy alcohol. So don't send, if you have younger friends, don't send them to buy alcohol for you. It's illegal to drive without a driver license, of course. It's also prohibited to drink alcohol or drugs when you're driving. You get to jail for that. If you will have children, you have to have special seats for the children to stay in the car. Probably you already know that as well. When you're going to have children, you have to take care of them. You cannot beat them. You cannot punch them. You cannot do like this. You have to be very careful with that, because Romanians, they're still crazy with this. Like when I was young, my father used to beat me a lot. He had a big belt, and when I was doing bad things, that's the way it was. It's not anymore. Like I don't beat my children. I try to talk with them. Sometimes I want to beat them very bad, but then I remember about my father, and I'm like, I do psychology, and I say, okay, no, don't be like your father. I'm joking, but the idea is, children are not animals, are not to be beaten. So it's more like you have to educate them. It's harder. The easiest way is to beat beat the kid. You say, you're so stupid, just punch him. But then hard, and being more like loving parent, is to talk and take care and have patience. And I have 3 kids, and it's crazy.
It pays off.
Okay. What's that?
It pays off in the end when you get older.
Right. Hopefully, when they will love you and take care of you, and will not dump in a nursery house for
exactly.
Yeah, my boy child, I said, so I always ask him like, are we good friends? And he always say yes. And I said, until when we'll be good friends? He said, when you'll be very, very old. And I said, yay, when we'll be old, you'll be very good friends with me. That's good. Okay, guys, so that was the lesson about legal rights. Of course, I'm sure you already know most of your rights. If you have any any other questions, you can you can just ask me. And then we're going to talk about work. There is a special lesson next part, like when we meet the next time, about work. So we'll talk about work rights then, but these are just the general lessons. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, we can move along to lesson number 7. It's about education in Romania. We'll go very quickly on the child education again, because you do not have children, so it's a lot of information that you do not need now. We go into very detail when we have this course with families, with children. We explain how it goes, because it's quite complicated to put your kids to school. But then this is information not very useful for you. So in Romania, education is compulsory, so means every child has to go to school at least 10 years, at least 10 classes, the 10th class. Of course, unfortunately, it doesn't happen. We still have a very high rate of people not going into schools. Legally, the parents should be prosecuted or get fines or go to jail, but it doesn't happen so much. But the idea is that you should put your child to school, of course. The education, the public education is free. So everyone until 12th grade, until high school, they go for free to school. So you don't have to pay. There are some taxes and stuff that you pay, but not in terms of accessing the education. There are like some, like for example, I have to buy for my kids sometimes some books or some extra stuff, or if they go in trips, I have to pay extra. But that's very low, and I think the system is very, very good. Okay, so when you're gonna have kids, when they are from 0 to 3 years old, you can put them in nursery. So you can stay until the 2 years, you can stay at home taking care of them, and then you can take them to nursery. And then from 3 to 5 years, kids go to kindergarten. There are two types of kindergarten. There is a part-time kindergarten, like from 8 to 12, and a full-time kindergarten from 8 to like 5 or 6. For parents who are working both, you know, you put your child all day. If you don't have grandparents, they have to be in kindergarten all day. Like we did this with my first daughter. Kindergarten, it's free, but you might pay like extra food. So if your child stays full time, then you have to pay some extra food. And then we have the preparatory class. We call it class 0. It's at 6 years. And then you go into the primary classes, which is from 7 to 10 years old. So we have class 0, which is a mixture between kindergarten and primary school. So the kids don't go directly to school, but they play and they learn letters, but they don't have homeworks. And then you go from 7 to 10 years old from class 1 to 4. Then we go to gymnasium from 5 to 8 classes. This is until 15 years old. And then you go to high school from 9th class to 12th. In high school, it's usually two types. If you're very good with human and languages, then you go for human studies. You study a lot of languages and literature and history and geography. Or if you're very technical, then you go to real type, which is like IT or mathematics. You study a lot of mathematics, biology, chemistry. So if you want to be a doctor, then you go to real type. And then is the third type, which is not a high school, it's vocational training. You can go like in a professional school, it's called. And there you get so you don't go to high school and then you never go to university, but you get like you want to be a mechanic or you want to be a, I don't know, a cosmetic, like cutting hair and stuff like this. So you can also do that. But then if you don't have the high school, you can never go to university. You know how the university works because you're all students here. Bachelor degree is usually 3 to 4 years. Then we have master studies. Of course, for medicine, it's all together. Master studies are 1 to 2 years, and then we have PhD studies, which is 3 years. In the specifics. We also have, you know, this because when you register here, you need to get the recognition of your diploma, so you can be registered. You know how this works. If you need any help, you already did it. Okay, guys. So this is about education system. I told you it'll be very fast because we didn't go into so much details. Of course, when you have children, you have to be very involved in the kids' school life, which is crazy. For me now with the quarantine, I had 3 kids that they did online school. It was like a computer IT office. Everyone on someone at one moment. 2 children were on the laptop, 1 on the phone. It was like crazy. So it's demanding, but we made it somehow. Do you guys have any questions about education in Romania?
No.
Because you're already being students here, so everything is it's clear for you. Awesome. Yes.
I have one question about my certification, about my graduation certificate.
Yes.
I have it from Syria, from Damascus University, in civil engineering. How can I to modify it or to work here in Romania?
But when you go to masters, did you get it recognized? Did you get it translated and recognized here?
Yes, I translated from Syria and give it to the university.
Okay, but did you made like a recognition of the studies? Did you go through this procedure?
No, I didn't remember.
Okay, so there is a procedure where you send first. You get all the documents translated by an official translator, and he gets a stamp on it. We have
Yes.
we could pay that, but I think now with the finish of the project, maybe next year if it's not urgent for you, and then you send all these to the Ministry of Education, and they check everything you study. They check the curricula, and then they recognize it as an equivalent of Romanian diploma. And then with that, you could find a job, but of course that's up to the company if they want to hire you. So a recognized diploma doesn't automatically give you a job.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Just if I get my master diploma or certificate, is it necessary to modify my my older license?
So in Romania, when you get a job, you have to put all your diplomas in, because master is completion to the bachelor degree. So for example, I did very crazy. I did 2 universities. So first I did my English journalism university and a social work college. Then I go to master for social work, and then I realized if I don't have the bachelor degree in social work, with the master degree, I cannot be hired as a social worker. Master is just like you do specialization,
Yes.
Yeah. So then I went back to school to do also get my bachelor degree, and now that I have the bachelor degree and the master, they work together like 5 years of studies.
Yes.
Because university used to be 5 years of studies. Keep this question in mind, and we can also take it to FIVI. But my recommendation also, if we have the budget, like next year, if we continue this project, you should do it and just have it there. And then if you learn the language, because you already as a refugee, you're here to stay. So if you learn the language, and still your bachelor diploma is in what area?
Damascus.
But what area? What team?
You mean the
subject? What subject?
التخصص تبعك.
Civil engineering, construction.
Okay. Maybe you can also find a job with a company that you don't need to speak Romanian.
Yes,
Zaher used to work like that, like you. Zaher, you met him.
Yes. Yesterday
Yeah, but he had a bad experience with the coronavirus. The company collapsed, but he was working and still learning the language. So that could be something. Yeah.
Yes, I will try after I finish my study.
Yeah. Awesome.
Next year.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay,
guys. If you don't have any other questions,
I have one.
Yes, please, Khalid. Sorry.
I didn't finish my studies. I only finished 2 years of dentistry, and right now I'm going to general medicine. Of course, there are some subjects that overlap. So, and I've asked many people, and they all say we don't know exactly, but most likely nothing significant will happen. Like maybe they tell you, okay, we just put you on the exam that you passed, but we don't reevaluate and tell you your entire year has been passed and move on to the next year. So what exactly is the process if you have finished a certain amount of years in a certain area?
So I did that the same. So when I did my master's degree in social work, and then I went back to do my bachelor degree in social work. So they recognized a lot of my studies and also some studies from the college. And what I did, also with my experience, and because I already had a bachelor degree in communication and journalism, they let me go directly in the 3rd year, which was brilliant. So I did in 3 years, I did my bachelor degree and master degree in the same time. So for me, they accepted it, but keep it in mind that I did these studies in Romanian. So it was in 2 universities in Romanian. So I think you have to clarify that with the secretaries. and also with the head of the teachers, because sometimes the teachers, when you get the diploma, they can recognize the note from their own strength, their own authority, and they can say, "Oh, you already took this A. Okay, I'll just give you A. Don't learn, but but come to the exam." So they did that also to me. So I was going to the exams, I was showing them the papers, but I was not giving the exam. But you have to clarify that depending on how they will recognize and they accept the grades you already took. So this is a very internal thing, and you can only do this like officially, like take the papers, make a return request, and say, please evaluate my grades that I already took, and then maybe you can equalize them or recognize them for this subject and this subject. But this is it's only up to the university.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, guys. One more question very quickly. So next week will be technically should be the last week of work, because the other week is just we do reports and financial stuff. Do you guys agree that next week maybe we meet in
iDrome office?
I wanted to say that, but what I want to say is to meet twice, like meet once on Skype to do 2 more courses, and then the last course is we meet in iDrome, have a coffee, drink a beer, I don't know, whatever, and say goodbye. Then that will be very good, because if we finish all this course, you sign, I give you the certificates, and we are done, and we've done like very fast, this course, using Skype and all that, and I think it's perfect. I will also let everyone know. So my proposal is to meet on Wednesday on Skype, and then maybe on Thursday or Friday, like also in the evening, so everyone is free to meet for like the last class and then goodbye part.
Okay, it's awesome.
I'm down.
Okay, awesome. I will let everyone know. I will also write it on the group. Okay, guys, have a good evening. Nice seeing you, and we'll be in touch. Have a good weekend.
Do you want to take the presence or
it's already taken.
To take what?
قدامنا.
The presence,
حط
our names.
Like you mean now?
For the lecture, yes.
حط علامات على اسمنا.
I already write. Like you mean the present week, right?
I didn't notice.
I already wrote and I looked how everyone's staying. So, and then we have 4 more lessons, and we do 2, and also the last lessons are very simple. We speak about money, budgeting will be very easy. Also because you don't have families, and so we'll keep it simple and fast. So have a good evening, guys, and see you next week. Okay.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.